Hello and welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Back in February this year, I made a video discussing some previously unpublished material for Advanced Heroquest that the creator, Graeme Davis, shared on his blog. It was a huge amount of really exciting content, including new spells, new monsters, and even a way to generate narrative quests. I will include a link in the description below for anyone who missed that video. Since then, Graeme has found some additional content, this time from a never published book he was working on called the Advanced Heroquest Compendium. I can only imagine how absolutely amazing that publication would have been. So in today's video, I want to briefly run through the new content and share my thoughts. I will include a link to Graeme's blog in the video description below so you can check out all of the material for yourself. In the first of 4 posts, Graeme shared rules for 5 new types of hero. This is a big deal, because Advanced Heroquest, despite including rules for creating your own characters, really only dealt with 2 archetypes, fighters and wizards. Generally, your stats would dictate what kind of character you were. If you wanted to be an archer, you would have to play a fighter with a high bow skill, and you would have to purchase a bow. If you wanted to be a barbarian, you would play a fighter with high strength, and you would put all your money into buying weapons instead of armour. Additionally, there were a few rules to show how different races interacted with available classes. For example, elf and dwarf wizards sacrificed some of their magical prowess to compensate for their race traits and stat bonuses. But, ultimately, you were playing a fighter or a wizard and role-playing your way into subclasses through your selection of equipment and how you chose to level up your stats. Now, we have some rules for 5 more classes. First, there is the rogue. Any race may be a rogue. They have a limited selection of equipment, no metal armour, shields or large weapons. They get +1 to surprise rolls, +2 if they are an elf, +1 to all spot and disarm traps, or +3 if they are a dwarf, and +1 to all rolls on the secret doors table, and +2 for rolls on the hidden treasure table. Next, there is the Templar. Only humans can be Templars. They are fighters who can also gain access to the first 4 spells of the Light College spellbook. However, these spells cost them double to learn, and they always have to make an intelligence test to see if they succeed when casting a spell while wearing armour. To offset this greater versatility, they will always give half their gold to the poor between missions, and they may never take an apprentice or a squire. More on squires in a moment. Then we get a proper barbarian class. Only humans can be barbarians. They only wear leather armour and chainmail, but they can use shields and any weapons. They are always intelligence -2, but strength +1 and bravery +1. They may never take a squire. The 4th new hero type is the priest. Only humans can be priests. They don't wear metal armour, use shields, or use weapons larger than a dagger, although they are allowed to use a staff, which is really interesting. The staff is a new weapon type for wizards and priests, giving them a slightly better fighting chance in close combat. It also grants them a +1 toughness bonus, which is really good for wizards, who are so squishy in this game. Priests can use spells from the Light College spellbook, and like Templars, must give half their money to the poor between expeditions. The final class is the Wood Fae, a Mage Knight option for elves which can be used as an alternative to an elven wizard. They don't have any modifications to their stat block, but they can pick a college of magic, and over time they can learn the first 4 spells from that college spellbook. Learning a spell costs double the normal amount, and if the Wood Fae is wearing armour, they must pass an intelligence test whenever they try to cast a spell. They can use any kind of weapon they like, but may not wear plate or mithril armour. Additionally, they are not allowed an apprentice. I have to say, I rather like these new options. They aren't doing anything too crazy, and they all work within the same framework that the core game established. It's just a few dice roll modifiers, exemptions, and equipment restrictions. And for me, this is the most interesting new content presented here. New options for heroes was definitely an area of the game that could have been improved, and it would have been great if Advanced Heroquest had the variety that we would later see in Warhammer Quest, and of course, much later, Avalon Hill's new edition of HeroQuest. In the second article, Graeme shared rules for new henchmen. Some of these rules made it into an article on henchmen in White Dwarf 138, which eventually became part of the Advanced Heroquest expansion, Terror in the Dark. The published henchmen rules included elf war dancers, human captains, wizards apprentices, and dwarf troll slayers. Graeme's uncovered material includes rules for squires, elven warriors, elven targeteers, dwarf warriors, and dwarf engineers. Squires appear to human warriors once they have 3 fate points. They have the stats of a man-at-arms, and while a hero must pay to train and equip a squire, the squire will otherwise pay their own way. Squires require constant training or equipment, or they leave in search of a better master. If the squire is killed, the hero loses a fate point. If the hero is killed, the squire steps up to take their place. Dwarf and elf warriors are pretty straightforward. Basically, a hero has a 50% chance of attracting a henchman of their own race whenever they gain a fate point, or they may choose to hire a henchman of their own race. Standard henchman rules apply, but obviously the henchman stats reflect their race, and they also have their associated racial special abilities. Engineers and targeteers are the equivalent of a human sergeant. The engineers add +4 to rolls to spot and disarm traps, and +2 to rolls to search for secret doors. Elf targeteers never fumble with a longbow and cause critical hits on an 11 or 12. The final 2 articles are a grab bag of bits and bobs relating to magic. One contains a selection of new magic items, some of which were published on Graeme's blog previously or were published in White Dwarf at the time. As such, I'm not going to go through all of that in detail, but there's all sorts of good stuff here. Amulets, talismans, wands, rings, shields, helms, potions, and weapons. More interesting to me is the 4th and shortest article, which contains just 3 new spells. Graeme says there is no indication in his notes which college these spells should belong to, but considering the nature of the spells, the fact 2 of them require silver components, and because 2 of the new hero classes, Templars and Priests, use light magic, my guess would be these are additional light magic spells. I wouldn't want to try to slip them into the light spellbook, but I could see them turning up on spell scrolls. Disarm destroys every weapon in the same room or corridor that isn't magical. Something you would want to use with great care, lest you disarm your own party. Lifehaven creates a barrier that prevents demons or the undead from passing through it or attacking through it. Warding is the same sort of thing, but it protects anyone inside the barrier from all spell effects from spells cast outside the zone of protection. And that, sadly, is that, and possibly the last of the unpublished Advanced Heroquest material we will ever see from Graeme. Still, what he has found and shared on his blog has been incredibly interesting and valuable. It speaks of what could have been if Advanced Heroquest had stuck around for a little longer and got a little more support. I am very happy to have these notes to add into my binder for Advanced Heroquest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to head over to Graeme's site to check out all of this amazing stuff for yourself, and of course, if you like the video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really like the video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so, and hopefully, I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone, bye bye.